Have you ever stopped to wonder, would a good father want his child to stay diabetic, sick, and stuck on medications forever? Of course not. And yet, that's exactly what the modern sick care system quietly expects of you. Take your meds, manage your numbers, come back every 6 months to see us. Forever. But that's not God's plan for your life. He designed your body with incredible healing power, and today we're going to talk about how to start living in line with that design. Hey, welcome to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast with the two renegade pharmacists, Brian Bisher and Corey Jenks. You are listening to this because you are a person with type 2 diabetes who is committed and driven to breaking free from this diagnosis and creating a real, meaningful change in your health and life. In these episodes, we're here to help you ditch the scripts with doses of unconventional wisdom on topics such as fitness, nutrition, medication, mindset, and more. So without any further delay, let's dive right in. Corey, I don't know why I'm always looking at your hats, but I just noticed them because I guess you wear them to cover up your
Thinning
receding
hair,
hair.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I am
But
ashamed of
yeah,
it, although I have no control over it, so I shouldn't be ashamed, but here I am.
and
So,
here for a second, I thought you were wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat to
no.
support us just bowing out of the playoffs in 2 games of the Dodgers. And come to find
Yeah.
out, it's a Cubs hat.
Yeah, to celebrate the Cubs winning in 3 games over the Padres. So by the time you listen to this, whether it's 2025 or 2020, whatever, this could age poorly. But as of the day we're recording here, October 3rd, 2025, the Cubs are going to the division series round against the Milwaukee Brewers. And so as a Cubs fan, as any sports fan, you should, you know what? I'm going to parallel this to our clients and our patients. You should celebrate every win you get because every win is precious. Every playoff win, even if it is not the World Series, is special. You should shower yourself in beer and champagne like the players did in the clubhouse, or maybe not that, but you should celebrate it. Every win's worth celebrating, Ryan. See what I did
Yeah.
there? I took your observation of my hat and I turned it into hot, tasty, useful content. Everybody, you're welcome. Reminder,
And
celebrate your wins.
and then also learn from your losses because I really hope the Reds learn from their mistakes this season, in the playoffs at least too. And they were the first like basically mediocre team to make it to the playoffs in MLB history. Just
I
like they had
don't.
nothing. Like the
I I would argue that the 2000, I think it was 11 Cardinals or 2000, one of those weird woebegone like undeserved Cardinal World Series wins. They had like 83 wins and they got the playoffs and won the World Series. So we can both agree that we dislike the Cardinals. Let's find some common ground. So,
yeah. And then I
but
think we can both agree that you intimidate me because you're so much of a more eloquent speaker than me on these
mm,
podcasts. And I think right before we actually went live, you were sharing something with me that trying to intimidate me even more, but like also
yeah.
again just proves the validity of our process. So
Yeah, I was trying to physically, not just emotionally bully Brian, but physically bully him. So my wife and I are actually getting some coaching for exercise and growth because we are getting older. My wife's she's older than me. She's 39. She's much closer to 40 than me. I'll be 39 in December. I'm still holding on 38. But we went and did what's called an in-body scan to get a baseline because I think knowing your numbers, knowing where you are starting, and knowing where you want to go are really helpful. So I got an in-body scan, which is a way of checking your lean mass, your fat mass in your body. And I had done one in May of 2024, and then uh, found out today that I have gained 2 pounds of muscle in just over a year and have dropped my body fat by about 2%. And I can validate our discussion of our strengthening process with our clients because I literally do the same workout that we prescribe our clients. I am lifting weights earnestly for about 30 to 40 minutes a week. And as long as you are progressing and taxing your muscles, you can grow. Now, I have a body type that I'll put mass on. Let's just say it like that. I can put lean mass on. I can put fat mass on very quickly. And then there are those types, I think we call them ectomorphs, that are it's a much bigger struggle to put muscle on. So my results are not me does not mean that if you work out for a year and you don't put 2 pounds of muscle on, you failed. Everyone is different. We have different inputs, different genetics. But the point being that with a very simple workout program, a very simple strength program with I actually have two sick kids right now. I don't have a lot of gym time. I've put the mass on, put on the muscle mass, and if you're like carb phobic, I've actually would say I'm probably eating more carbs now than I was a year or two ago. So it can be done, but it's you can lean out and eat some carbs, but you got to approach your body the right way. So Brian he's shaking right now because he's so intimidated by me.
I know when he goes on these rants and I just like he leaves me speechless sometimes, so it takes me a moment to collect my thoughts. Hence some of the pauses that I am not good enough yet to edit out of this podcast. So if you
Mm.
hear pauses, that's what they are. But really, I heard you say mass a lot, which just again brings me to the topic I want to talk about today. That I don't think God wants us to people in general to struggle with type 2 diabetes. This is
Mhm.
I know this is like a little bit of going to be of an interesting conversation because Corey, I mean, I'm a practicing Catholic and I'm very proud to say that. So, but Corey, on the other hand, not, which is totally fine.
And I'm
And
ashamed to say it in front.
no,
See, now I'm
he's not.
intimidated by it. No, I think honestly, just taking a step back, we have different spiritual backgrounds. Yet we're on this mission together because I'm with you, man. It's okay. I think we can have sort of discordant spiritual beliefs and still be really good friends and have a really good mission together. And I saw the topic of our podcast today, and whenever I start intimidating Brian with my eloquence, it's probably kind of how I feel looking at this because it's a subject I probably am not as close to that Brian is. So I'm actually happy to step back and kind of let him take the lead here and sort of chime in with my own spiritual perspective, so to speak.
Yeah, and I really appreciate his spiritual perspective in our conversations and just the openness he's had because, well, I mean, personally, I've been a little bit on a faith journey and deep in my faith, and it's just like it's kind of like I was reflecting on it this past weekend. It's kind of like working out. I didn't really what helped me to continue working out was realizing the tangible benefits in my life, like physically looking better, feeling better, way more energy. All those things came from realizing the tangible benefits of working out and eating a more clean diet in terms of like basically less processed foods, more whole food, more protein, more nutrition, all the things we talk about. Whereas the same thing was true, I realized from my faith journey and my faith practice, is I just feel more of a calm demeanor and less anxiety on a day-to-day basis. And knowing that God, I believe, has put this purpose and passion in my life to help and serve people and help the people heal in a time when like the environment is definitely not conducive to it. I mean, God, his design for our body was made evident from day one, really. It's like our body is a temple. It is designed to heal. It has this incredible ability to heal on its own when given the right signals and the right signals and the right messaging, which is essentially what food and exercise are. They are signals and messages to your body to do certain things. Hence, Corey putting on 2 pounds of muscle, that is him signaling his body through exercise and nutrition to grow some muscle tissue.
Yeah, and I will say, I have like a very off-color cynical joke of like, and I did that with 0 minutes in any sort of spiritual practice. Like I had 0 minutes, talk about for all the talk of mass, I spent 0 minutes in mass. But your idea of God's design for us, if you're listening to us and you are not a believer in that, I could argue nature's design, science's design, however we are currently in our current state as humans, what I look at around us, we're not doing what we're designed to do because we're sick and there's metformin. But 100 years ago, there wasn't metformin. So why would we be designed to need it, right? We don't have a metformin deficiency. Whether you think it's God or nature or whatever, why would they design us with an Ozempic deficiency, right? So the inputs are not right. And I really like Brian's idea of like what signals are we sending to our body or mind or spirit?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at the modern, I mean, God's design, nature's design, the food, it's one of the best things I've talked to people who, and it's like the reason we bring this up because it is really is a good way to connect with people who do have a spiritual practice, who believe in God. And it's like, if you know, we like, or at least I have that and can resonate with it, it's another level to just connect on. And I bring this up, Corey, because it has been one of the best ways to connect with people I've met with in the clinic when they openly talk about their faith, but then they're struggling to eat real whole food. One of the aha moments they have is like, hey, what food did God put on this planet? That's what you are designed to eat. That's what you should be eating. And they're like, oh, light bulbs are going off. They're like, oh yeah, like all this man-made food, this processed junk that is just energy and just pure energy and nothing else
It's
beneficial.
hedonic
It's
to invoke
hedonic, yeah.
some spiritual way of looking at things. It's hedonic, and I feel like pardon that this is like an awful pun, like devil's advocate. I'm not devil's advocate here, and so like God, you're saying God went, he didn't design this food for people to eat. Well, humans think we're so smart that we can with everything we can outsmart a spiritual being or outsmart nature, and we cannot. We it's very hard for us to outdo what has been created, evolved, and I feel like I'm diluting your message a bit, but I'm just bringing my own perspective and for because I have patients that are like yours, are faith-based, and they will say prayers for me. Like they're very kind, and I accept that. And then I have people who are vehemently anti-religious, and I listen to them too, and trying to find like, I mean, the big picture here is we have a discordance between what we have like what has been created for us artificially to eat versus what has been created for us naturally to eat.
Yeah, yeah, right on. And Corey actually almost he kind of lost his words there for a second. So all I gotta do is just bring this up, and he'll be a little bit speechless. Good to know. Good to know. But one of the things you said there, I really wanted to touch on, or as people say, double click on, which is again that's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I don't know why when people say I want to double click on this,
Oh,
but
100%. That's
100%,
my
just like
that's my
100%.
100% nails on the chalkboard for me. I think we've beaten 100% to death because we're now saying 1,000%, and we're running out of zeros, folks. So anyway,
Million
you want
percent.
to let's go back to what I double you want let's double click on that 1,000% point, Brian.
Uh, I've actually lost my train of thought because we just went down so much of a rabbit hole with these annoyances. But speaking of hedonic, did see something interesting today about the Starbucks latte, the pumpkin spice latte, the PSL, because it's
Hmm.
tis the season, Corey. Tis the
Yeah,
season.
thanks for the nails on the chalkboard for that. I've actually never been inside a Starbucks. I think I might have mentioned that on the podcast before. I've never been inside a Starbucks, but I'm familiar with PSL season. Continue.
So did see something about the $500 million bet that we are just so essentially, I don't know, brainwashed to just buy into this type of food that is like, oh, like it's pumpkin spice latte season. It's fall. I need to get a spice latte, even though it's 50 grams of sugar and like nothing good for you. I mean, maybe there's protein in it, but in fact, there
It
actually
feels
is.
good, Brian. It feels good, man. If it feels good, just do it. It's the season. You only get one fall, you know? What's this $500 million bet though? You'd
Well,
mentioned
that's how
what's
much
this?
they profit on it every year.
Oh my gosh, that is insane. That's probably more than the GDP of some very small countries. So,
Yeah, that's
uh,
how much their pumpkin spice latte is worth every year. It's $500 million. So that's just the kind of stuff that blows my mind is like when we talk about this is the environment we are set in, and
mhm.
we are just set up to fail. Like people are just the standard American diet is sad. There's way too much energy, not enough nutrients. We are sedentary now, where you can literally probably get Starbucks delivered to your house. I don't know, but I'm sure there's Grubhub and all these other services that are delivering this to their house. Our doctors are trained to manage disease, not reverse root causes, and certainly don't have the time to ask you about your lifestyle or what you're eating. And again, if your doctor is not asking about these things, you have a drug dealer, not a doctor. So or maybe, yeah, I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't have time to ask you about it. But essentially, that their situation turns them into a drug dealer. And the result is essentially people have way too high of insulin levels long term. This leads to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and then we push all these medications to lower blood sugar, but don't fix the insulin resistance. And it just leads to more medications over time. People don't actually get better. It's actually just masking what's going on. And we've talked about this. It doesn't, more medications does not necessarily mean saving your life. So, why this matters spiritually is because it literally lives like living like this traps you in a way that it just robs you of your energy, robs you of your focus, years of your life that you could be using for God's purpose. And it's really hard to just live out your calling when you're just trying to survive and make it to the next appointment and to the pharmacy.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it there, and I think that to me, it's an affront to God and to nature how we live. My wife and I'm fortunate. We're fortunate to be married to amazing women who are like vibrant and observant and love growing along with us, and we live in the world and we observe the world and we are saddened by the state of the world. Like, yes, like your phenotype, your physical body, we have obesity, we can, Brian and I can literally look at a group of people and spot the ones with insulin resistance. Like, we're not trying to be weird or creepy. We've just seen it so much. Like, we know exactly what to look for from from a body type. But then you look up at the face, and the faces were sad. And yes, there's social media, which is another spiritual drain. We don't have to go down that road here if we don't want to today. Let's focus on what we were talking about. I've diverted us off the road enough today, but think of how hard it is. Think of the like most biggest achievement you've ever achieved. Maybe when you were younger, maybe right now when you had all the energy in the world and all the focus. It was really freaking hard, right? Now imagine you had something, you're trying to climb this hill and there's this like demon, and we could use your imagination depending your spiritual background. You have a demon holding onto your leg, pulling you down this hill as you're trying to climb it. And that's what I see in my patients and clients is they have these big dreams, but they're derailed by their health. They're derailed by the cravings for the hedonic foods, the hedonic activities. Their bodies are not physically able to perform the tasks that they need to be able to do. And it's deeply depressing to me. We are here to fix people's diabetes, to give you your health back. But I can tell you there is, and there's actually science behind like metabolic psychiatry that depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, a lot of these things improve. And we're not promising that. This is not medical advice. We have that disclaimer. They improve, and I've seen it in my patients. Their depression lifts, their anxiety lifts, their pain lifts, their lives are fuller because instead of your life revolving around the world of healthcare, you can revolve it around God or your other purpose or calling. But if you're constantly like, imagine a phone dinging, right? And notifications are a pain in the butt, right, Brian?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Or a child, like we love our children, but they interrupt us all the time. You're having this deep thought, you have this deep plan, and every few seconds you have this ding, this notification that's derailing you from this big, deeper purpose that requires a lot of effort. Well, that's what's happening with your body when you're metabolically deranged, when you have type 2 diabetes, is every time you think you get a foothold on life, there's going to be some complication or a medicine to take or a pharmacy trip or a doctor trip or a finger stick that's going to get in the way. Like we measure diabetes and A1C and blood sugars. I mean, I zoom out and look at like the misery index of your life. And how can you live your deepest purpose and calling if you are sick constantly? And I would argue artificially sick because of our artificial environment.
Wow, man. That one actually was a really good little aside there. So thank you for that. You had me like just in awe, just staring at you
Well, thank you.
and not your Cubs hat.
Mm.
Um, but I wanted to point out that I saw something in my notes for this topic is that our faith really does need our physiology. That God, He wants us to be free. He wants us to experience our true calling and our like our fullness, our best version of ourselves. Because He did send His Son. He sent Jesus here, and He healed people often. And God really cares about both our body and our soul. He gave us the tools for movement, real food, prayer, community, all these things that help us relax and decrease our stress levels. And really freedom, it starts when you stop outsourcing your health and you start partnering with those tools that God gave us and it allows you to just really step into that fuller version of yourself. So just a little slight interruption here. Corey and I's podcast was interrupted. So I'm going to finish up the episode by myself to just give you some practical hope and really give you a sense of how to start breaking free, because it just starts with little by little, like one step at a time. And step one is to acknowledge the trap you're in, raising your awareness. Change cannot happen without problem awareness. And problems are really just a sign of something that needs to be changed. So stop looking at your problems for the surface value, like look deeper and just give yourself some time and prayer, solitude, silence, because this world is so distracted, so noisy that we often miss those signs, those signals that God is trying to give to us. And then step two is to trust God's design. Trust that your body can heal when you give it the right signals and the right messages. It can heal because God designed it to heal. And then step three is to just take one faithful action. Like in that prayer, what are you hearing? What is that one little consistent action that you can take, whether it's a walk after dinner, swapping a high carb snack for protein, or joining some community for some support, whatever it is, just pray and ask God to show you where He wants to bring freedom in your health and in your life. So with that, I just want to say, I know this has been a little bit of a different episode. We haven't really talked about faith, my faith specifically in our episodes, but it's just something I felt called to do. Give you a sense of where I get my strength from and like my health journey. So really, if that's the case for you and this resonates, Don't let it stay as just inspiration. Take the next step. We created a free masterclass that walks you through our 3-step diabetes remission roadmap to show you how to work with your body, not against it. And really, if you've ever felt trapped, this class is really just going to give you the keys to start unlocking that door to God's plan for you. Talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. Now go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode, and you can join us on the journey and roadmap to remission. Thanks for listening to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap. The ideas discussed here are for general informational purposes only and do not constitute medical or nutritional advice. We are pharmacists, but we're not your personal healthcare providers. Always consult your own physician or qualified clinician before changing medications, exercise routines, or nutrition plans. Results vary, and what works for one person may not work for another.